Is Fortnite becoming too casual? That's the question many veteran players out there are asking themselves right now. And that concern is only going to be tested further in the future. First and foremost, I'm not a big Fortnite player, so some of this information is going to be coming from a bird's eye perspective, i.e. the research I have done and the conversations I have come across pertaining to this topic. And believe me, there are a ton of conversations floating out there right now regarding if Fortnite is becoming too casual, especially given new information. Massive potential changes coming to Fortnite have a lot of gamers out there very worried. However, others are excited at the possibility of a fresh change to Fortnite's core gameplay. Epic Games recently released a statement regarding the late game changes that are being considered by their company. And the three big ones are shotguns, rockets, and uncapped building. And the community of Fortnite is very outspoken on these three things. For a long time, these three elements were very crucial, especially in late game scenarios for Fortnite players. Because of how bullet drop, spread, and bloom work in Fortnite, many players have gravitated towards weapons that they can actually use and get expected results. You get close enough and you just point and click with the shotgun and your bullets will go to where you want them to be. You don't have to deal with random variation, which is quite honestly not a good thing for competitive play in any genre, let alone a battle royale third-person shooter. People love rockets too, and they like building without any limitations. It's the trifecta of any competitive Fortnite player today: rockets, building, and of course, a nice shotgun. Slip in a high-powered sniper rifle as well, and yeah, there you go, it's everything you need. But Epic Games is worried that the reliance on these three elements is turning the game into a shotgun-infested build-a-thon. So the community is divided. You've got half of the community out there wanting change, wanting new things in Fortnite, and the other half of the community very loyal to what the game is currently. And honestly, you can't blame either side because people like what they like. The growing concern by many veteran Fortnite players out there is that these changes just appease new players and not loyal diehard veterans. Because if you change the dynamics of weapons or you change the entire core gameplay of the building mechanic, you're going to estrange so many different people. Veteran players out there are accusing Fortnite of wanting to keep the game in the hands of brand new players and focusing on the new player experience. Because honestly, getting in those late game scenarios and having uncapped building is very daunting for new players. Building in Fortnite is such a huge skill ceiling between different players, and the fear of many of them out there, the veterans, is if you cap that building, then you're just appeasing the new player crowd. This would have quite the adverse effect on gameplay between skilled players in Fortnite, because that skill ceiling would be lowered and the threshold for your skill in the game would be lowered as well. Hardcore gamers out there love high skill ceiling systems because it allows them to get an advantage if they put in more time to learn those systems and get really good at them, therefore giving them a competitive advantage. So if you take that system and boil it down or restrict it or dumb it down, then you've essentially just made a statement to serious players out there that says, we want to bridge the gap between skillful players and new players to make sure everybody is good at these systems. A great example of the dangers of this kind of normalization is found with Street Fighter IV versus, of course, Street Fighter V, which was a far less skill-intensive game, many will say, than Street Fighter IV. It's good for the casual player because they can at least compete with a really good player in Street Fighter, in Fortnite, in PUBG, whatever the game may be, because it essentially makes it easier to be good at a game regardless of how much complexity is in the game to begin with. That complexity can be dumbed down a little bit to appease the common gamer, and that's the concern with Fortnite today. So you've got two different groups of people out there right now, the new players and the veterans, seeing different sides to this one argument. Fortnite right now is probably one of the most popular games on the market, so it's really important to Epic Games to make sure that everyone has the ability to be good at the game. And uncapped building makes it really difficult for new players out there to enjoy themselves when there's so much complexity right now if they get themselves into a top 10 or a top 5 situation. Many people out there have seen a really good Fortnite player and some of the best Fortnite players out there. It is a daunting proposition to learn how to compete with that if you're just a new player, because it's very complicated, uncapped building in Fortnite right now. It's a really good system for people that have put the time in to learn it, but for everyone else, damn, it's very intimidating. Especially since shotguns have been really good since day one, and especially since uncapped building has been in the game since day one. So taking something out of a game that has already been instilled into the community since day one is far different than simply introducing something as a new change, and that's the real problem here. You're going to alienate so many different people because that's what they've been used to since the game came out. And many of those players are speaking out. One in fact is saying that creating longevity for new players is usually the quickest way to destroy the player base. Please be careful with drastic changes. I don't want to see this community destroyed. That was a quote from 100T Nadeshot, one of Fortnite's most iconic faces. In an age where so many games out there appease new players over veterans, put changes into games that veteran players don't want, appeal to the lowest common denominator, we are seeing this alarmingly new trend of putting new players above dedicated players. We saw this with Battlefront 2, we saw this with Battlefield 1, Street Fighter V, many other games. Is Fortnite gonna be one of those games? Or is it gonna stand the test of time? What may happen is that Fortnite does implement these changes, but does so in a way that does appeal to both new players and veteran players alike. It may be that this limitation actually proves to be the driving force behind skill, in fact, because you have to learn when to use it at the best time. And it may be a breath of fresh air that adds some much needed change and dynamicism to the late game battles in Fortnite. I think it's really important in any video game community to be opinionated on what you want and what you do not want in a game for upcoming changes, but also open to the idea that these changes actually might be for the better. That the motives behind any given change aren't inherently bad in nature, and that they are being implemented for the better of everyone in the game. Of course, that's a very optimistic mindset, and this won't be the viewpoint of every single gamer out there, especially gamers who are hesitant to adopt such changes. But at the other end of the spectrum, it's important to be realistic, because honestly, Fortnite is a game created by a business at the end of the day. So more newcomers, more casual players, more credit cards equals more money. So it may very well be that these changes are to suit those needs and to drive their business forward. That in itself would not be an unfair assessment and perspective on these changes, because really, who knows what's happening behind closed doors at Epic Games. Because the veterans out there who have been playing Battle Royale games for a long time don't want to see this game go down the road of you-know-what, H1Z1. Because too much radical change too quickly can alienate and turn away your loyal player bases, creating a death sentence for your game. But at the end of the road, so many different people out there have so many different positions on this matter, so do me a favor and comment down below telling me what your perspective is on this new development in Fortnite. Do you remain optimistic, or do you think these changes are going to be for the worst? Let me know down below in the comment section, guys. Just don't want to see it go down the road of something like Destiny, where the game just gets dumbed down so much that the loyal player bases that once were turn against you. So thanks for watching, guys, and Fortnite players out there, I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and thumbs it up, and take care until our next one. Peace, love, and happiness. Until then, have a great day.